Hello and welcome to another important session where we are going to talk about the important question and answers from your CBSE Class 10 literature. So, this will be helpful for the last minute revision for all the chapters that you have in your test, especially the prose chapters. So, the first question that we are going to discuss is from the play, The Book That Saved the Earth, which says a satire is when a person, idea, or institution is criticized by highlighting their faults and weaknesses using humor. So you have to basically describe how the book that saved the earth can be considered a satire, and you have to give supporting examples from the text. That's the question. So how would you start with the answer? See, the answer that I am showing you, that this is just, these are the points that you have to add. Of course, you have to write your answer on your own, and with proper structure, having introduction, body, and conclusion. This is not the complete answer. These are the guidelines which I want you to think about and use in the points that you can use in your answers. So here you have to talk about how the playwright has used humor and exaggeration to criticize and mock the Martians' intelligence, especially the whole incident about the analysis of the wrong and the incorrect, and the humorous analysis of the nursery rhymes. You have to talk about the invasion of the Martian and how think tank's intelligence is described in the exaggerated terms, and how he's a narcissist, how he describes himself to be the most powerful and intelligent creature in the whole universe, and that ultimately leads to his fall, his downfall. His hubris leads to the ultimate downfall. And about the confusion related to the balloon brain, right? So how he is mocked and how he's shown to be more pompous rather than being intelligent. So all these examples you have to give, but you have to have a proper structure in your answer. The next important question which we are discussing over here is a speech on what the journey is more important than destination. And here two texts have been mentioned, which both of the texts talk about journeys. So these kind of questions which have comparative analysis of two or more texts, these are very important. These come a lot in the exam. So here we have to talk about the journey which was undertaken by the character in Madam Rides the Bus, which is of course the 6-year-old Valli, right, the child Valli. And you have to talk about the whole journey that she undertakes, the sights and sounds, the movements that she experienced, and how the incoming journey and the both ways journey, so return journey as well as the journey when she saw or encountered wonderful sights and sounds. And then unlike Valli, the pilot in the black aeroplane, what was important for him, the destination was important, because the journey was filled with terror, right? Because he was going to his home. So that is why for him the journey was, yes, it was important, but the destination was more important, because he was eagerly waiting to have English breakfast, right? So that was something which was significant. So the entire journey that he had, in a nutshell, you have to talk about. But what was always in his mind was the destination. So this is the difference between Valli's experience, because that talks about the journey more, and the pilot in the black aeroplane's experience, that talks about the destination more importantly, right? So these, and then you have to talk about, you have to give a conclusion that journey is, where journey is something where we learn, we grow, we experience new things, and we have also we have to undergo a lot of challenges. In both the chapters, both the characters underwent a lot of they had new experiences, and they also underwent a lot of challenges themselves. So that can come as a conclusion. The next one is, imagine Robert Frost from Dust of Snow met with Lencho from A Letter to God. This is also again comparative analysis of two texts, and they are discussing various ways. So the theme is common. The theme is nature. Both the characters are associated with nature. So how nature can influence a person's mood. So for Lencho, who is a farmer, who is completely dependent on nature for his survival, so he can, and what happened to him because of nature, nature can be, nature can give you gifts. Like for him, rainfall was gift, but soon it changed to hailstones. So it can also take away everything that you have, right? So you have to talk about the entire experience of Lencho and nature. So the conflict between man and nature would come into place here. And Robert Frost is going to talk about how nature can also be hopeful. So you have to write a kind of conversation between them, the discussion between them. So this can be in your own words, but the gist is you have to talk about Lencho's experience with nature, how he felt that nature can be cruel and destructive because he had a destructive experience, he had a negative experience. But then the other one, that is Robert Frost, can talk about the influence of nature in a positive way, how nature can be helpful and how nature can uplift a person's mood, because that had happened. Entire transformation had taken place in his case. Next question is from Footprints Without Feet. Did Griffin from Footprints Without Feet follow the saying, with great power comes great responsibility? So yes, here the author is talking about responsibility which is associated with power. So Griffin was powerful because he had the scientific knowledge. He was a brilliant scientist. But did he follow this? Was he responsible? So basically you have to talk about how Griffin was a brilliant scientist but a lawless person. This is just a rephrasing of that same question, right? So either this question can come or it could be asked in the other, it could be worded differently, right? But both the answers are exactly the same. So what are the, how did he manage to become lawless? So you have to talk about all the encounters and adventures that he had and what lawless activities he performed. So right from setting the house into fire, setting his landlord's house into fire, then what did he do when he went invisible? What did he, his stealing of money, his robbing from clergyman, and till the final encounter that he had, and finally how he escaped. All these points should come. Next question that we will be talking about is, privilege often confuses actual needs for perceived ones. Evaluate this statement with reference to Mrs. Pumphrey. So what does this mean? Actual needs. What was the dog's actual need? And what privilege did he get? Okay, so privilege, Pumphrey's character is all about privilege, right? She was wealthy, she was a privileged individual. So she gave Tricky everything in expense, in excess, which she gave her gifts, treats, a lot of treats, excessive amount of food, and that was mistaken as the dog's actual needs. So as a result of that, what happened to the dog? What happened to Tricky? How his health deteriorated, and then finally what did she realize? So that teaches the lesson that we should only have those things in our life which is actually needed, and if we are too privileged, then we are often confused. Next is, freedom is inconsequential if it is behind bars of prejudice and narrow-mindedness. How would you explain this statement? You have to give examples from the real world. So here you can talk about, of course, Nelson Mandela. This is from Nelson Mandela, how freedom, here you can, if the chapter name is not given, you can also talk about Tiger in the Zoo. But mostly this has been taken from Nelson Mandela actually. So you have to talk about Nelson Mandela's idea of freedom, how freedom is indivisible, how he realized that oppressor should be also as liberated as the oppressed, how a man who takes another man's freedom is also a prisoner of, he's also not free, he's also a prisoner of hate and prejudice and narrow-mindedness. Right? So all these points would come in, and how he is robbed from his humanity. Next is, a noted author, Richard Bach, wrote, for most gulls, it was not flying that mattered, but eating. For this gull, though, it was not eating that mattered, but flight. So this is a quote. So these kind of questions can also come, quote-related questions. A quote might be given to you, and then you have to evaluate the statement. Okay, so of course you have to talk about the whole experience of the flight of the young seagull, how he was very coward. He was having the desire to fly, but he was a coward. So his entire family separated him, and how finally his flight for passion is driven by a deep sense of curiosity, adventure, and longing for freedom. And finally, when he was able to take that first flight, what was his experience like? So of course, food becomes secondary, but food acted as a bait, which propelled him to fly. So the young seagull's unwavering dedication to flight, that sets him apart, okay, and that makes him an extraordinary character in the story. So this is how you would be approaching this answer. Next question. In a parallel world, the pilot of the black aeroplane narrates his adventure in a story titled The Old Dakota. You come across an excerpt from the story which responds to the ending questions of Black Aeroplane and describes the Black Aeroplane pilot's decision to fly away after watching the Dakota land. So this is an interesting question. Okay, so how would you approach this answer? As I witnessed the Dakota's successful landing, first of all, the relief, you have to talk about the relief, okay? And then I realized that my purpose was not to bring harm or instill fear, but to serve as a catalyst for his inner strength and resilience. So that is something which is very, very important. So that became an inner strength, a catalyst for his inner strength, okay? And then after I saw him, that means, for example, you have understood that he had got his inner strength and resilience. So then you make a decision to fly away. And because your mission was complete. Okay, so the test of his character has been successfully met. He has been able to face adversity and he had made the right choices. And of course, then you finally departed knowing that his life had transformed forever. So that is how you could approach this question. The next one is again comparative analysis of Carolyn Wells and Mitchell the Otter. So over here, Carolyn Wells, How to Tell Wild Animals. Suppose she meets Mitchell the Otter. So how would she detail the account of Mitchell's characteristic feature? This is an interesting question. So you have to talk about all the characteristic feature of the otter which you have come across in the story, right? So for example, he was close to water, he enjoyed the company of water, and otters are not common as pet, but if you are giving a lot of love and care, you can keep otters as pet. They are very, very intelligent animals. They invent new games on their own, right? And there are many similarities between otters and little children. They have tendencies to learn. All these points, they are hyperactive. They constantly need attention. So all these are already given in the characteristic features in the chapter. So you can talk about these characteristic features, and Carolyn would describe these features of the otter. Next question. Anne was a sensitive and mature girl. From the chapters and poems in your textbook, First Flight, only First Flight has been mentioned. So you have to talk about two characters who could be her friend, Anne's friend. So you could talk about the postmaster from A Letter to God, any two characters, but you have to justify. Okay, Mitchell, okay, from Mitchell the Otter. Or you could talk about also Bholi, you could talk about Valli, you could talk about Amanda, right? So any characters you have to talk about, but how you have to give the reasoning why they could be friends with Anne. What are the common characteristic feature of these two characters? Few common features you have to talk about so that their friendship could be possible, right? So because that is the question, analyze the common character trait. So if you talk about Mitchell, so both exhibit deep appreciation for natural world, their curiosity. These are the common features. If you talk about the postmaster, they have a compassionate nature, empathy, okay, and they have the shared value of empathy, kindness, and power of goodness. So that could create a special bond. But of course, apart from these two, you can take any character, you have to point out the common features. Next is in the chapter A Baker from Goa, the narrator talks about his childhood in Goa and his fond memories. You have to compare the childhood of Nelson Mandela and that of the baker. So both of them, both their childhood, they are very different, because Mandela grew up in a racially segregated South Africa, where there was a practice of apartheid, where there was racial discrimination, inequality. His early life was marked by systematic oppression, and in contrast, Baker from Goa, he was reminiscing his childhood, his happy childhood. There was a rich cultural heritage. It was a peaceful coexistence. He enjoyed the warmth of a tightly knit community, and so these are the differences basically. So you have to talk about the difference between their childhood, because they are very different from each other. Next question. It was fairly common practice in the 19th century for gentlemen and ladies to seek courtship and matrimony by placing a suitable advertisement. So there are two questions on this. Based on your readings of the play and understanding of the characters, what details would Lomov provide in matrimonial advertisement to find a bride like Natalia? Think of what made Shubukov shortlist Lomov's advertisement if he was scanning the matrimonial section of the newspaper. So these are very important, interesting questions. So let's say he is planning a matrimonial advertisement. What are the characteristic features that based on the chapter you have to say? So you have to talk about, yes, a well-to-do gentleman possessing substantial estate with valuable livestock and fertile land seeks suitable match for marriage. So yes, he was a well-to-do gentleman. He was having a substantial estate, and the lady should come from, what is his expectation? She should come from a respected family background, age between 25 and 30, because he was also around that age, 30, right? With a modest dowry and a keen interest in managing household affairs, because Natalia was also good in household management, right? Then Lomov, how is he scanning? Lomov would likely emphasize his wealth, property holdings, with downplaying any personal shortcomings. Yes, he had that shortcomings of being a hypochondriac, so he would definitely not highlight that, right? And how would Shubukov scan this? He would see that he might consider Lomov's advertisement. Why? Because he was looking for someone who is who has who is wealthy and who has good status, right? So that is something. So he would likely to see Lomov as suitable match for his daughter, of course, specifically because of Lomov's land holdings and income. So that would definitely be advantageous for securing his daughter's future, right? The next question is, attack is the secret of defense. You have to justify this statement in case of Ausable. Okay, so what did Ausable do? First, you have to explain the quote. What does this mean? That the best way to protect oneself is to be proactive. Take the initiative. Okay, so this is from Midnight Visitor. So what did he do? He quickly thought of a plan that would outwit Max. Okay, and the whole story that he wove around the balcony. Okay, then how someone knocked and he pretended that he is a policeman. So police are waiting outside. So and finally how he tricked, basically how he outwitted Max. Same thing. How Ausable outwitted Max, if this question comes, or if it is worded like this, both the answers are same. Only they have been phrased differently. Okay, next one is, imagine that the young lady writes a letter to Horace Danby, question of trust, okay, while he is in prison. Write a letter imagining yourself to be that lady with respect to the story. So for example, she has already successfully outwitted that Horace, okay. So what would she write? She would talk about, she would reflect the events that transpired, right? So first she would express the admiration for the skills that he had, the passion for the rare books and the skills that Horace had, okay. And of course she might also apologize for the deception, okay. So yeah, and then you can elaborate on that, right? The next one is, we are too involved in materialistic things and they don't satisfy us. The loving relationships we have, the universe around us, we take these things for granted, okay. So this is a quote and you have to justify with reference to Matilda from The Necklace. So you have to talk about how she always loved glamour and luxuries. She did not love her husband. She did not have a caring and an emotional attachment towards her husband, who loved her dearly, right? And what was the result of it? Okay, so the entire incident that happened and how their life changed. What all did the husband do for Matilda's sake, and how she reciprocated, and what was the ultimate result? Okay, so they had to live a life of miserable poverty, so that was the ultimate result. And how she was stripped of her entire beauty and grace and everything as a result of that. So it is very important to value what you have, because then you might lose out on whatever you have, like she did. Next is, imagine you are Bholi and you have been invited by a girls' secondary school to address a group of students about being independent, fearless, breaking the stereotypes. So you have to write a speech. This is very simple. You have to talk about how you can, you are Bholi. So your transformation, how did your transformation happen, right? And that will be an inspiration to the children in the school. So that's it. That is how you have to write the points which you have to talk about. And the final question which we will discuss in today's session is this one. The play The Book That Saved the Earth conveys a message of misunderstanding and cultural differences between various races that can create confusion and conflict, right? So how can you maintain peace and harmony? So that is exactly what happened in Book That Saved the Earth. It was a cultural conflict, and because of that cultural conflict, the entire incident happened, and think tank was removed from the throne. They had to go back thinking that there was a danger, right? So think tank had sent an initial probe, but the crew members were definitely not intelligent or mature enough to understand. So how it is important to maintain harmony, so that such kind of confusions and conflicts can be avoided. So I think these were the most important question and answers which you can just go through the last minute of your revision, which might be helpful for you. So that's it for today, and all the best for your exams. I hope everybody will do well. Thank you. Take care. Bye bye.